everyone, today we're exploring the ECA conundrum, the green economic conflicts in Europe and Central Asia. We'll analyze the complex data behind their economic growth, energy use, and carbon emission.
Sustainable energy plays a vital role in achieving a green economy. Since the Paris Agreement in 2015, nations around the world have committed to limiting global warming and reducing carbon emission. This plot shows that in the Middle East and Europe and Central Asia region successfully reduced their carbon emission. In contrast, other regions across Asia and Europe experiencing stagnant or even increasing emission level. Carbon emissions are strongly linked to a country's economic growth. In the Middle East and North Africa, as well as the East Asia, countries with smaller carbon contribution tend to show positive economic growth. Those countries with higher use in renewable energy tends to have smaller carbon emission too, indicating that a strong association between renewable energy use and emission reduction. A similar trend can also be found in South Asia, which records the lowest carbon among them. However, the Europe and Central Asia region presents an interesting case. Despite the extensive adoption of renewable energy, their carbon emissions remain relatively high. This makes this region an anomaly, kind of different with other regions.
Okay, so this is made us curious. Why is this happening? To find out, we decided to focus our analysis on this region, which is Europe and Central Asia. Europe economics still depend heavily on energy-intensive industries such as manufacturing and construction, which naturally produce large amount of carbon emission. To explore this further, we analyzed data from 2014 to 2021 using 5 key variables: renewable energy consumption, industries value added, energy use per capita, carbon dioxide per capita, and fossil fuel energy consumption. Our results show that renewable energy help reduce emission, but industrial activity and energy use still drive them up. And then we look further, renewable energy also show a significant negative relationship with fossil fuel energy, meaning more renewable energy are used, the less fossil fuel is consumed.
So the scatter plots show how growth and emissions change over time. The x-axis show carbon dioxide total emission growth and the y-axis show GDP growth. Each dot is a country, red for 2021, blue for 2022, and green for 2023. In 2021, most countries clustered in the top right quadrant showing coupled growth, economies rebounded, and emissions rose, but some like Finland and Ukraine already started to decouple, growing while cutting emissions. By 2022, more countries, including Finland, Sweden, and Luxembourg, moved farther left, showing progress in energy efficiency and renewable use. Then in 2023, GDP growth fell sharply across Europe and Central Asia countries. Emissions stay low, but economy slow, driven by the Russia and Ukraine war and the energy crisis that follow. As the European Central Bank noted, the sizable terms of trade shock resulted in lower real incomes and weaker competitiveness in the context of declining confidence and rising uncertainty. So even though Finland and Ukraine had shown real decoupling earlier, their growth slowed in 2023, not because green policies failed, but because external shock disrupted their progress.
To conclude our findings on Europe and Central Asia conundrum, first we found a clear anomaly. The region is known as a green pioneer, but its data conflicts with this, showing high CO2 emission and moderate renewable energy use. The root cause is structural. The region's heavy reliance on energy-intensive and industry creates a very different and more difficult starting point for its green transition. However, we now can see real progress. Recent data clearly show decoupling. This means GDP is growing without a rise in emission. Our verdict is that the green transition in Europe and Central Asia is real, but it is complex. Their main challenge is decarbonizing old infrastructure, not just building new. Okay. This conducts our analysis. The full list of sources that inform our findings is shown on the slide. Thank you for your time.